Thank you.
Hi. Hi,
Hi.
Joellen.
Hi, Frank.
Nice to see you again.
Hey, thank you.
Hi, Judith.
Hi, Frank.
Hi, Sidra.
Hello.
Oh, I don't remember your name, Zoom user.
I'm trying to change my name. I'm Chris.
Hi, Jenny.
Hi, Frank.
Hi, Walter.
Hi, Frank. How are we doing?
Good. Hi, Rana.
Hi, I missed last week, but fortunately, because you recorded it, I was able to catch up with everybody and watch last week's this morning. And I have
Good.
two things I want to hear more about. One is your Black Lives sweater,
Yes.
and also Ron's neck problem on his Henley. And third thing is Jenny, I just love the man on your wall.
Oh,
Above your head. I just love him.
I'll just hold up so people can see.
Hi, Kathy.
You're on the floor now.
And hi, Cindy.
Hi, Frank. How are you?
Ugly
Good.
man on the wall.
There's the man on the wall.
Man on the wall.
He's great.
Oh, my goodness. Oh,
Chris, it looks like you got your
Crazy,
name
Jenny.
fixed.
I did, yes.
Welcome.
Thanks,
Well,
Jenny.
It's nice
Sorry,
to see you
I
all
missed it.
here. Yes,
If-
Rana, I
if-
just got that last week's video posted yesterday, so I always
Wow.
try to get it done, and I put it off and put it off, and then, oh, I have to get it done before Saturday. So,
Well, it was perfect. Thank you very, very much. I enjoyed watching everybody. You all had a good time.
yes, we did. We always do.
We do.
did. We did. I'm here, but if I disappear, don't worry or anything. We're babysitting the three littlest grandkids, and the tiniest one is asleep with the baby monitor on, and Jerry's watching the video with the 4 and 6 year old. So
I see.
if something happens, I'll just be gone.
Well, Rana asked about my Black Lives Matter sweater, and
Oh, how's that
I'm
going?
making some progress on it.
Yay.
I'll show you that.
Wow.
But before I started getting into that, I continued swatching, and I'd like to show you what I learned from swatching. Let me spotlight myself. I did BLM 3 times, 3
Wow.
different techniques,
Wow.
and got dramatically different results, which you may
They
be
look a
able to
lot
see.
different.
Yeah.
The top one is done Fair Isle. Like I was saying, I developed a way to do Fair Isle that's just across the intarsia portion. So that was an example of that. And I did 2 different types of stranding. The top is the normal stranding, where I just locked a stitch if it was going over 5 stitches or more, I would lock it.
Mhm.
But then this part, I used a technique that I learned from Kyle Kunecki, who has a series online of how to lock every other stitch in Fair Isle, and it makes a woven back like that. It's very interesting.
Hmm.
So I think you all can see that, the difference
Yes.
between regular
Yes.
See how
stranding here
different it is.
It is
regular.
different.
Wow.
thing.
Wow.
I'll post a
Wow.
link to Kyle Konecki's what does he call it? A playlist or class. It's several videos showing the technique in all different cases. And then the second one, I used Jenny's suggestion and did a double knit. So you can see that it's reversed on the back. And then the final one is just ordinary intarsia. And so you can see it, intarsia looks like that on the back.
Wow.
The double knit looks the best on the front.
Yes, it does. But there
I
is a
agree.
problem that you may not be able to see very well.
It looks
Because
like there's a thickness.
it's
right?
thick and this is
Yeah.
thin and this is thin. There is a ridge across the
A
bottom
ridge, yeah.
and across the top.
Doesn't
And
look bad though.
it is a possibility, but I chose not to do that.
And
I like the
does
intarsia
it
the
look
best.
like it's dark, a little darker, the white area than the others?
The intarsia does. Is that what you're
Okay.
saying? The intarsia,
Well,
the intarsia white areas is the whitest of all. But there's no black behind it. The double knit does have some black behind it. If you, let me see if I can show you closely. See, it just looks a little darker shade than this. That's all. Not
that's
much.
what I thought I was seeing.
Oh,
And now
interesting.
look at the Fair Isle, and I don't know if it's because I'm a terrible Fair Isle knitter, but you can see that black all the way through, all the way across.
You
And I
can.
really did.
Yeah.
It just looks like little bits of gray.
Great, yeah.
Yeah.
How it's showing up.
I
No,
don't see
I
a
don't,
problem.
I
with the
want to
double.
blame it on the yarn. The yarn is very fine and maybe I'm doing it at a
Oh,
loose
maybe it's the
gauge.
needle. Maybe it's the needle.
Maybe
If
it's the
not yarn,
needles.
it's the
Yeah, it's
needle.
probably not me.
No, it wouldn't be the knitter.
But anyway, that's the result of my experiment and I decided to go with the intarsia. And
Nice.
doing that in
Yeah.
intarsia, I tried a couple of different techniques and I convinced myself very easily that the best way to do intarsia is to not use bobbins and butterflies at all. Just use straight strands of yarn, and each time you use one, pull it up and just pull it out like that. Oh, I have one bobbin, and of course I chose the one that had a butterfly. You choose a yarn and you just pull it out, no matter how long it is, and then you work with it.
Just do
And
it
I
on-
find that really easy because they don't get tangled at all. Every time you start start using a new color, you make sure that particular strand is not tangled, and it just pulls right out, and you can just work with it. Then I worked out how to decide how long those strands should be specifically. So I have a chart that I'm using for both the BLM and the image on the back. And I have color coded the chart to show which yarn starts and ends where. And now I can count the number of stitches in each area. So I
Wow.
did a swatch, well, not a swatch. I knitted 10 stitches and then took them out and measured the yarn, and it was 6
How
inches.
long it was.
So if I count the number of stitches and then I use a factor of not 6 but 7 to give an extra inch for every 10 stitches. And so I multiply the number of stitches by 0.7, which is 7 stitches per 10 inches. And then I add 12 inches for the 2 tails that are going to be added. And then that's the length of the yarn I cut off to use in that section.
Good gravy.
So the rest of us that are math challenged are toast.
No, count 10 stitches, count and find out how long it is. And
Multiply
add an
times
inch to it
point,
to give yourself
add an
some
inch,
extra
and then
spare.
by point, whatever that number is.
Yeah,
right?
and so 7 divided by 10 is 0.7.
Mhm.
And so that means you're using 0.7 inches per stitch.
Per
I mean,
stitch,
yes,
okay.
0.7 inches, almost 3/4 of an inch per stitch. I thought that
That's
seemed like a lot.
amazing.
And then you can just
Well, but that
multiply times
includes
the number of
your,
stitches.
your ending stuff and your little bit of extra.
And then I add 6 inches at each end to
Yeah.
weave in. And so I add 12 to the total. And that's how long I measure off.
That's interesting.
Frank, did you do any swatching on the two hands?
I started it in a swatch just to make sure that I could actually do intarsia and actually get the image to show. And I did enough of it to prove to myself that it will work. So that's all I did. I didn't do the whole image. Have I shown you the image?
Mm-mm.
Or maybe you'd like to
Last
see it again.
Well, I wasn't here last week, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see.
Showed it last week, but not yet today.
I'm adjusting it so you can see. Share screen. Let's see. There it is.
Mistake.
There. Can you see that?
Oh, how nice. That's very nice.
So that's the image that's going to be on the back, and it's about, well, it's 66 stitches wide and 80 rows deep. So I think that's about 10 by 10 inches.
Frank, is that graphed on knitter's graph paper? So it is the way it's actually going to appear at your gauge?
Yes, it's on
Okay, that's
Stitch
what I'm
Fiddle,
thinking.
and you can tell Stitch Fiddle what your gauge is to make it shape the stitches the right.
Oh, that's
proportion.
cool. I've never done that, but I've heard that you're supposed to do that. I mean, I've never done anything like this at all.
Yes,
Anyways.
otherwise it would be elongated if you just. if you
Yeah, because
didn't.
they were saying that it would make your, if you just did it the way that you would draw it, like on regular graph paper, it would look squished or look different.
Right. So I also color coded the image. Let me see if I can find that. I'm knitting it from the top down, so I have to knit it. I had to invert it both horizontally and vertically.
Oh, wow.
And then I color coded it like this. The dark colors are black and the light colors are white. But what this is showing is each section of color is one strand. And those are the stitches I count to find out how much to do that strand in.
Oh, that's interesting. So like that light green is one strand and then each color is its own strand.
That's right. The light
And-
green is one strand. The dark green is, well, it would be one strand, or actually probably that one is the whole black ball.
Butterfly. Right.
And on the left side, you see some pink,
Mhm.
little pink areas. That's the white between fingers, but then there has to be some black. So the burgundy that's next to it is actually black. As a separate strand for just a little tiny area at the knuckle of each finger on the left side.
I see how that works. That's really neat. What a great idea.
I found out that you have to know which way they're going too. In other words, I did it where the first row was knits, and then I did it again where the first row was purls. And it makes a difference as to how the colors, where the colors actually change. Can you see my cursor?
Yeah.
Oh, you
Yeah.
can. So you can see where I'm pointing at these 3 stitches.
Mhm.
Yes.
These 3 stitches that go across here, let me undo that, didn't mean to color it. That row is going, I'm knitting from, it's a purl row, so it's knitting from left to right. And so I'm able to just go straight across and then start another black yarn next to this black yarn. No, I'm sorry, that's where it ends. Anyway, I end that one. And if I was going in the other direction, I would probably have that burgundy extend across those 3 stitches and then be burgundy on the row above them as well.
Okay, yeah. I see
So
what
it
you're
matters where
saying.
you approach a color section, whether you extend across it or start another yarn at that location.
Right.
You just have to kind of experiment with it, but I think this turned out to be a good way for me to figure out when to start a new strand. Often I start, I mean, sometimes, not often, sometimes I start a black strand when I've already just finished 2 black strands. Like down here in this area,
Mhm.
I'm going across, but I'm actually getting ready to split the black area around this purple area.
Mhm.
So in order to get ready to do that, instead of having this burgundy go all the way across and then jump back over to here, I start the black and then use black to black, 2 different strands. And then when it goes to separate, there's no big jump.
Oh, that's nice.
Okay.
So this is all my next lesson in Intarsia, and I hope to do a video that will describe all those kinds of things.
Great.
That will happen in months. Not days.
Well, and it's nice too that you're not under any deadline time. You're doing it for yourself.
That's right. I feel very relaxed. Let's see. Here is the BLM that is color coded.
Oh,
And I'm using Knit Companion for the first time. And I'm enjoying that. But I create the images in Stitch Fiddle. And I just learned that you not only can save Stitch Fiddle charts as images, JPEGs, and PNGs, you can also save them as PDFs. So you can bring them directly into Knit Companion. The best I could tell, Knit Companion doesn't work on images. Does anybody know if that's true?
If what's true, I missed it. I want to know something.
Knit Companion. Are you familiar with the app called Knit Companion?
I am indeed.
Can you load a JPEG into it and work off of that? It looks to me like you can only load PDFs.
There are a number of supported image files that you can import, or you could the last time I did it, because sometimes I make them or I color them in one of my image editing softwares. And I feel like I've worked from, if not JPEGs, maybe PNGs, but
Really?
it's been a little minute.
And I was not able to find that, but I find that the app is not always intuitive how to do things. And so I've watched some of the same videos over and over. I think I know how to do something, and then I go to do it a few days later and I still can't figure it out. Like how to add a PDF to a project that's you've already started. That took me a while to find. But once you find it, it's like, oh, there it is. It says PDF with a plus sign next to it when you're in the project. But you have to know to hit the either edit or setup. And I have trouble remembering which one to hit for what.
And their help pages are not that helpful.
Yeah, lots of, well, I've spent time in the videos. The videos I find very helpful, but it's hard to find what you're looking for in the video. But it's a really neat app. I see why so many people use it.
And I think the other images for downloading, you have to subscribe to a different software that brings those in, from what I could see.
Oh,
Oh,
maybe I did wind up converting the things to PDF because I have the entire Adobe suite, so I never remember exactly what I do with file formats.
I see. Well, once I found out that Stitch Fiddle will save a chart as a PDF, my worries were over. I was saving them as a PDF and then loading them, saving them as a JPEG and then loading them into preview and then saving them from preview as if I was going to print, but choosing to save it as PDF instead. And then you have to remember to put that in Dropbox. So then you can go to Knit Companion and get it out of Dropbox. So many steps just to get from one app to another. Well, hello, Ron. I didn't see you come in.
I just had a nice visit from the Cal State Knitting and Crochet Club leadership. Their officers came in today to get some materials for their club. And so we had a great time.
Oh, good. Oh, I was going to also share you the progress I made on the sweater so far. So here's that. I've started the image on the back. And so there's the back. Of course, you can't see what it is. It's
sort of.
It's sort of there.
Wrists, cuffs.
And I've started the letters on the front. So everything curls up. So there's the top of the B and the L and the M, which you can't really see.
I like how you're doing the intarsia. I think I will try it again because I hate having all of those crazy thingies hanging at the bottom and you can't ever
tangle. They wrap around each other and they're really hard to figure out how to get them unwrapped. And
this is so cool.
Look how many threads there are coming off of the BLM. I mean, and if every one of those was on a bobbin, you'd never be able to get through it. So I did about 2 rows using bobbins and I just ripped all the bobbins out because I remember somebody told me, you really don't have to use anything if they're really small areas. And so then I did all that in the swatch I was doing and decided, no, I'm not going to use bobbins. And it just works so much simpler. It really is. So try that. And
funny,
and here is the sweater like that. So I've made pretty good progress for a sport weight or almost finger weight yarn. And I don't ever make sweaters this light, but I thought the image would show better if I had smaller stitches.
Looks like it drapes well.
Yes, it's it's Malabrigo Arroyo yarn, and it drapes beautifully. It's just this soft, thin fabric. It's really nice. I like it. So who else has something they'd like to show us?
I have a question. I put on the sweater and I found that the sleeve was tapered too much and it was too tight to my arm. So I had the upper arm part of it. So
which was too tight, the upper arm or the lower arm?
The upper arm here.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I tore it back out to the 50 stitches and I left it there. And when I get down to the elbow, I think I'm going to start decreasing then.
There is an alternate version that the pattern has a link to. If you read the notes around the sleeve shaping it says, if you prefer to have a straight arm at the top
Mhm.
and more taper, then click here, and it gives you different instructions for doing it.
Okay,
But you can probably figure out what your circumference should be and keep it straight as long as you want, and just decide when to start tapering and taper it down to whatever you
Right.
want. It's
Yeah.
not a hard calculation to make.
no. That's why I pulled it back out. What I did first before I pulled it out is I put a lifeline in it and then I pulled it out. So
Excellent idea.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then I said, okay, now let me pick up the stitches again and do it. So that's what I did. So,
Joellen has her hand raised.
Yes, since we're on the topic of sleeves, you know, when you're knitting merrily along and all these ideas, I could change this, move that, and experiment with another thing. I was kind of wanting to stop short on like a t-shirt type length of sleeve, or even a 3/4. Do you just stop, or is there any other preparation you need to do?
You just stop and put your ribbing wherever you want.
Hallelujah.
And I recommend following the pattern to that point so that it's the right width for that arm, for the arm at that place. I actually published a t-shirt pattern that was made exactly that way.
Okay.
One of my sweaters was a
Fantastic.
Phrancko sweater that just stopped at the upper arm and was a t-shirt.
Okay, good, great.
one more question.
Yes.
How much yarn do we all have and what are we going to do with it? Because I know I will never use all of it.
I opened a yarn store.
That's a good one.
Yes.
I was with my friend the other day, and she is overwhelmed, not with knitting yarn, but with antiques.
Oh,
3 bedrooms upstairs are full with all oak furniture. Downstairs in the basement is full of Lionel trains and dolls.
Wow.
And the garage is full of all unfinished furniture that needs to be, you know, redone. And she's 79 years old, and now she's got to go through back surgery, and she don't know if she's going to make it, and she knows her kids are going to throw out everything in the house
oh.
because the millenniums do not like oak.
No.
No one buys it. She's got impression glass all over the house and
Oh.
everything else. But, you know, her and I were talking yesterday, and I said, you know, I've been in my house for 12 years and I got 12 totes, I mean, big totes of yarn, and I got it in my closet. I got it in my drawers. I got needles all over the place. What do we can't all use this yarn.
Well,
We can't.
if something should happen to you and all your yarn is left at home,
All right.
someone will find it and put it all in a big garbage bag and
Okay.
go to the nearest yarn store and
Yes.
say, can
Right.
you do something about this for me?
Yes.
I
Well,
don't
even
know where else that happens to.
yeah.
No one
Well, what
packs
it-
up all of their grandpa's tools and goes to Home Depot and says, can you throw these away for me?
Yeah, right.
Do you know anyone who wants these hammers?
Yeah.
Man,
I
leave
know.
me alone.
I know. It's and the only reason I thought about it, it was because of the 2 boys from Connecticut. I mean, they sit there and they talk about all the stuff they're making, and I'm looking behind them and I'm saying, they've got a wall of thousands of skeins of yarn. What do you do with this?
Well, luckily I have a whole family who knits, and it's like a family legacy at this point. So it'll just become my nephew's inheritance.
All right. So
make sure someone in your family knows how to knit, because or crochet.
I'm it.
Because those
And then my
people take
sister,
the
but my
yarn.
sister's 81 years old, so I don't think that's gonna
Maybe
happen.
that won't be helpful.
Yeah. No. So
Yeah, it's a problem.
it's scary to think of it.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm starting to give away yarn. I've cleared out some. What I've done is I've sent some to TKGA because they have contests and giveaways sometimes. And so
Mhm.
if I had some yarn that would still had the labels on it, and like when I was shopping in Europe and I bought yarn and I loved it and I brought it home and put it in a drawer and never had a reason to use it. So if I
Use it.
bundled it up and sent it off to the editor, Arinda Holiday, and there are also other places that, well, I don't know.
Yeah. I just sent off a
Knitting
ton of
groups,
bags of
you know,
yarn with
knitting groups and guilds. You could go and just say, I've got a lot of yarn and would anybody like it? And
Yeah.
I sent a ton of old stock off with the Cal State kids today. They're getting their club off the ground. And I was just like, here, take it.
I worked in a nursing home for 17 years, and the activity people.
Whoops.
uh-oh.
Wow.
I knocked out.
Did something happen to you, Chris?
There's no sound.
Yeah, the mic knocked out.
Let's see.
Oh, we hear you now.
There you
Now we
go.
can hear you.
We hear you and see you.
Okay.
And you were saying?
I was saying that I worked in a nursing home for 17 years, and often the activity people are looking for yarns for people who live in the assisted living portion,
Mm.
who are still able to, but can't afford to buy yarn.
That's
Yeah.
a good idea.
And I suspect some school systems would take yarn.
Many of the high school knitting clubs here accepted yarn. Until then, they had too much and said, please stop bringing
Right.
it to us.
Besides this is Rana, besides my regular yarn that's probably stashed in every single room here and there, in the corner, in the back, in the dark. I also have a yarn tree that holds 62 cones of yarn.
Oh my God.
Oh my.
Now I'm not feeling so bad.
I'm with you, Walter. That makes me feel a lot better.
Yes, I know.
Really, I mean, my answer to this thought is I intend to leave this world in the way that I came into it, as someone else's problem.
Okay.
It seems like someone was sending needles and yarn to Ukraine. I can't recall who it was. It seemed like they were in the news. I don't believe it was the local thing. Does that ring a bell to anyone?
Mm.
Um,
No.
and something we've done at the shop is when we have stock that we're getting rid, because I sell and put things on clearance just because I don't want people to expect sales later.
Mhm.
But when I'm left with little bits and pieces of things, what I often do is collect these in places. And then we have a portion on our website where people can fill out someone who could use yarn that they otherwise wouldn't be able to afford. And we just send them a little grab bag, a little like pay it forward bag, we call them.
That's nice.
One yarn shop that I went to had a big barrel of or basket of yarn, and what they ask for you to do is to just pick a ball and when you go home knit a cap and for the winter, and then
Bring it
next
back.
time you visit, bring the cap back.
Mm.
That is
It's a good idea too.
I belong to a group that's a make-along. They're doing a make-along on on stash yarn. Excuse me, and that's helped me get rid of quite a bit of my stash yarn to make something productive.
What is the
And
make along?
A make-along?
What is that?
Well, it's my particular one is a stitch in time. It's a woman in Canada, and she's on Ravelry. And she announced at the beginning of the year a make along, and they're making socks mostly, but there's one section where you can make anything that you want to, your own design or whatever, to use stash yarn.
Oh,
And what she did with the socks is she put them in paper bags and sealed them. And once a month you get to open whatever you've put in the paper bag to make the next group of socks.
Oh,
And that has depleted a lot of people's stashes.
oh, that's nice.
Frank, you've never heard of a make-along?
Oh, I just realized I've always called it a knit along, and so I just didn't
Yeah,
recognize the name.
They call them LLM something. So
MALs, yes.
yeah, MALs, right. They got
Oh.
shawls they're doing, people are doing sweaters.
Yeah, I just finished a shawl for them
Mm.
to and mittens and headbands and all sorts of little stuff that just requires bits and pieces of yarn.
Yes.
But it's not nearly as fun as having a Phrancko sweater of your own.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's sweet, Chris. How's your sweater
it's
coming?
I finished the other sleeve. I just have to bind it off and then the neckline, and I'll wear it next week.
All right. Can you lift it up and show it to us?
It's in the other room right now. Otherwise,
Okay. So,
and I live in a home where my husband is a collector, so my stash is pretty well isolated to my sewing room. He collects antique radios from the 19
Wow.
through 19, well, whatever, to modern day. And he has over 700. So,
oh,
just think about that sometime.
Mm.
Got a lot of crap to get rid of. I'm hoping he outlives me.
Somebody else's problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
ah,
But that's a great hobby.
Oh, it's a wonderful hobby. He's been doing it for over 30 years, and right now he's helping someone from the club her husband passed away unexpectedly, and the widow has no idea what she has.
Yeah.
He has some wonderful collectibles. So he and another engineer are making lists for her and the values so that she can take these things to auction or sell them to other people.
Mm.
But
Yes.
yep,
I guess this is a universal problem.
well, I think people just like to get stuff.
Collected, yeah.
Collect, yes.
So I'm working on another, I'm doing it again.
That's why we like you, Ron. You have so much fun to show.
Did anyone watch Strange New Worlds this week? They started a new Star Trek series.
no.
Not yet.
Oh, they started a new Star Trek series. I thought it was excellent. In a way, I haven't thought many Star Trek things are excellent in the last 15, 20 years, but I really enjoyed it. And so their uniforms are interestingly constructed and have a half raglan style cutout at the shoulder cap into a set-in sleeve. And it's just so puzzling. And I'm just like, well, you can sew that very easily. How would you knit it? So I started sketching and I started swatching to figure out, because they have I just like working on stitch patterns and gauge things, because it has this texture print
Oh,
that goes down into the shoulder cap that's a set-in sleeve.
Ooh, that's cool.
Like this.
Wow.
If you can see this.
Mhm.
Oh, cool.
Ah,
Oh, very
Oh.
nice
This is too
looking.
far up. I can't show it at all. Let me see what brightness is enough.
Yeah, we can see. it.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, it looks really
It goes
good.
down
That's
right
awesome.
outside. And,
Look at
and
that.
I've got a few sketches of potential constructions and just like what I started as a raglan with little increases until such a point as it completes the underarm shaping as a, or at the lower arm shaping as a raglan, where I just do it as stitch patterns across the front and work it as a normal set in sleeve sweater and work it as stitch patterns. So I don't know. Maybe I'll never do anything with it, except that right now it's an intellectual exercise. Because I love a puzzle and I love to doodle with things.
It looks like it'd be great.
Yeah,
Wait.
so,
We should do it.
I'm working on it now, and it's such an interesting silhouette.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It is. Got a nice shape to it.
And that swatch you made looks perfect. I mean, it
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
looks like it's working
Nice.
well.
Nice.
Yeah, so this is, should I choose to do it just like a normal, like Phrancko top down style,
Mhm.
just planning out the, and trying to choose what kind of stitch to use, something that won't alter my stitch gauge too much, so there's not so much math as it's increasing and decreasing. Oh, Rana wants to talk. Hi, Rana.
Mhm.
Rana raised her hand. I don't see that, but never, I'll find her.
Yes.
Oh, there you are.
Ron, do you have an update on your last week's Henley neck situation?
No, I have been in rehearsals all week with both of my roommates, so I haven't had a chance to make them go back and forth trying that on.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about it because the neckline of this, the like inspiration thing of this sweater, because it's also a V-neck, as you can see, the collar would be worked with short rows because the collar on the inspiration piece is quite high in the back and quite low in the front. And that got me thinking about simply if this sort of, if that can be mitigated with just a higher collar, incorporating short rows into the neck treatment. Or I was thinking if picking up stitches and then working sharp decreases in the back might be a solution, but I haven't made any real progress. I've just been ruminating.
Thanks.
You're welcome. So I've thought about it, but nothing yet.
Yeah. I was intrigued on what you all were saying about it last week.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, I'm still a little intrigued about it myself, but I haven't made any real decisions or done any experimentation to see what exactly was going on. And and it's strange because I thought, well, maybe it's the weight, but then I thought about it. No, the front of the sweater is actually heavier. Incrementally, but it's heavier because it has the plackets and buttons, and so there shouldn't be a great difference of weight causing it to pull down in the back. I don't know. Curious. Maybe Perrin was just very slippery that day. So yeah, that's where I am. I always have a lot of irons in the fire, in case you haven't noticed.
Well, Ron, I decided to take your advice and get some boxes because I decided that I was tired of working on the shawl collar when I realized I had added 2 extra stitches to the repeat.
Meow. Yep.
And I had to rip it all out. So I'm doing something different.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
And
I'm
I'll wait till I get finished being mad at myself, and then I'll do it.
I think I'm glad that my desperate means of keeping myself straight when I litter this place with half-started ideas. But no, it's been handy just being able to stuff all the swatches, the thing, just like in here. I'll see you when I get back. Good.
Yeah, because I was trying to be a monogamous knitter, but it's just not working for me.
I'm just not the marrying kind.
Mm.
Does everyone know what we're talking about when we talk about boxes? I showed my
No.
boxes.
I
Mm.
don't know.
I've taken, well, is your box nearby? No.
No, mine's upstairs.
Okay, I'll grab this one. So this, they're just little mailing boxes that I pick up,
Yes.
like a little shipping box. And when I start a project that might have to be put away, and sometimes like work things have to be put away because things happen, but I will totally forget. So I write what the project is on the side and like when it came from. And then on the inside is like the project itself, the swatches, all that swatch has been through the wars, but the swatches go in there. The pattern is in there.
Yeah, you keep the needles too. I do that too because I forget what
I
needles.
keep them on the needles, and heaven knows I have a ton of needles. And I keep like even little notions like a pair of scissors. This uses a lot of stitch markers, so I keep my little thing of elastics because I have several of these, and I just keep the elasticus in the box so that when I pick this up, I don't have to hunt for anything.
Yeah.
It's all in there, and I can pick it up and work a few rows and put it back down, and not like I'm going to work on that and then find the 5 things I need to start, and then work is over.
What size is the box, Ron?
A lady never tells. No, let me tell you. I think it's 3 by 9 by 13.
Okay.
Like it's a document box, and I just
Okay.
we have them for shipping orders, but it's a little smaller than like a flat rate mailer box.
Uh-huh.
And I won't stop you from going and filling up with flat rate mailer boxes and not mailing them either.
It's like the boys at Needle at the Ready. They have project bags. They must have like 30 of them a piece with all kinds of projects in.
Yeah. And I have had that. I still have that situation going on. Let me show you our warehouse at work sometime. It is a house of horrors. But I
That
like
would actually be really interesting though to see.
Yeah.
The warehouse. I would love it.
Yeah.
Field trip.
Yeah.
A virtual field
Oh,
trip.
geez, we are running out of time today. I don't
We
But-
can
Yes, we
schedule
can
it
do
another
that
time.
whenever you like.
maybe next time. But yeah, being able to put the like I know what the project is. It's not getting smushed in a bag. I can stack the boxes up on like my IKEA shelves.
Yeah.
Great idea.
I like hearing that it's working for someone. I just shared it because I had to have a solution, because even if I have the best interest of working on one thing at a time, owning the shop, I don't really have that luxury. Sometimes things are pressing and I have to change projects because I don't have sample knitters. I don't have it's just us. So
Thank you, Ron. I feel better now.
I'm like, I was just like, I'm gonna start a little project. I need a break from sweaters for a minute. I'll make a new hat. I got this far into the hat before I started swatching for another sweater.
Well, you made progress.
Yeah.
See, this yarn looks like my dog.
It's pretty yarn.
Yeah.
Did you dye that?
Oh,
Did you tie that? Dye
yeah,
that
this,
yarn?
this is
Yeah.
one of our
I thought it
one-way
looked like one of
flights.
yours. Mhm.
Oh, how did that go? Was that last week, wasn't it?
That was last week, and it came in like gangbusters. People were here and ready when the doors opened.
Oh my
And it was hours straight. Like when I showed up when did I get here? Like 3 last week. That was the first break we had all day.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
People were here and they were ready and they were really excited about what we had. I mean, it was a great day. It was a really, really great day. And usually this is the time of year when it is slow for us because it's hot. But it's very different now than it was here. My average clientele is younger. My average clientele is more spendy than they were.
Mm.
And I'm seeing more people on a weekly basis, particularly for this time of year. So knock wood, things are going well. But yeah, local yarn store day was a great time.
You dye your own yarn.
Yes.
Do you do this naturally?
No, I use ghosts.
Oh. Yeah, I'm asking because the two guys in Canada, they go out in the forest and pick up oak leaves and stuff like that.
Yeah, we use acid dyes.
All right, dandelions. I mean, the man's fascinated. The cabin boys.
Yeah,
I'm absolutely amazed at. I mean, he did lilac.
It
he
is
does
really
lilacs and stuff like that. It's absolutely amazing the colors that come out.
Yeah.
Remember the helical knit sweater I was wearing last week?
Mm-hmm.
That was yarn from that Ron
The cabin boys.
No, that was
it,
yarn from Ron.
that was yarn that Ron dyed.
Oh, all right.
I'm having trouble getting the words out for some reason.
There's a possibility that Tim dyed it, but
Oh.
either way, it was us. We probably worked together. Yeah, so no, we do standard dye runs here, and like the run of, we had a table piled with the one-way flights, and people buy the living daylights out of those, and I make them, and I still don't know exactly why they speak to people the way they do. Maybe it's because they are one of a kind and you see a pretty one and you're like, that one's for me. But there's not enough. Like, you can make socks, you can make wrist warmers, a hat,
right?
But they'll put together whole projects and leave with 5 of them, each of them completely different.
Wow.
Which is really gratifying to me as an art type person, because that there are knitters and crafters in general who are very much paint by numbers type of people. They see the pattern and they see the color it's in and they want to make that one, which is absolutely great. I have no problem with being that kind of knitter. And I think that makes a lot of people feel very secure and comfortable in their projects. But being the kind of like wild, artistic minded kind of creative that I am, seeing people come in and just like put 5 things together to make something that speaks to them out of your work is really great. I mean, I don't know, those you're designers, or you've got websites where people take your idea and turn it into completely novel creations, right? There's something about that that's gratifying.
That's extremely gratifying to me to see how creative I've been with my plain sweater designs.
Yeah.
Patterns. I mean.
Ron,
Yes.
Ron, do you ever do gradient cakes?
Yes, I have done. They are labor intensive, so I don't do them terribly often, but our specialty, our special yarn for local yarn store day last year was a violet to pink gradient yarn.
Oh, I bet it's pretty.
I'll show you when we go on our tour.
Good.
We look forward to it, Ron.
Yes, absolutely.
we finally got a weed whacker and took down the weeds and thorny lettuce that was growing in the back. 2 days of rain meant we had spiky lettuce plants that were as tall as me.
Oh, God. Well, at least you have the heat. It's been 50 degrees here and rainy all day and yesterday. So
That sounds so
Oh,
nice.
44 here
yeah, see?
and raining.
I'm going to cry.
Yeah.
In 2 months, it'll be 44 here, but Celsius.
Yeah, see?
And you'll think, Ronnie, surely you don't understand Celsius if you think it's going to be 44 degrees Celsius. No, it's
Yeah.
going to be 44 degrees Celsius.
Does anybody have a question that they would like to ask before we leave? Chris, I think you're the newest Phrancko sweater knitter that's here, and you seem to have completed yours. And
Almost. I'm this
except for the
close.
neck.
I
I
love
know.
it. It fits.
That's
It's
very
wonderful.
exciting.
Yeah. I need to get off my, you know what, off my needles and get to, I'm not sure why I'm having so much doubt on the, I don't do the needle cast offs. They're not comfortable for me.
Oh,
So I use one of the other ones and I can't remember what I used on the other side. So I'll have to experiment.
you know, you can just use the, what is it, the standard
Yeah.
cast off.
Bind off?
Bind
Yeah.
off, the standard bind off. It will work fine.
All right.
I just got so impressed with that needle bind off that I promote on the pattern that, and other people, sometimes people try it and enjoy it, but it is very tedious to work. And so the other will work fine.
Yeah, and I've tried Kitchener on the ends of the socks and it drives me crazy. I just don't like
That's-
it.
Well,
Well,
that bind off is related to the Kitchener stitch.
yeah.
It is.
Mm.
It's just like that.
It's very much like it, but it's actually a little trickier because all of the stitches are on the same needle.
Okay. And I have a lot of stitches around my wrist.
Mm.
All right. Well, this has been fun again. It's good to see you all again.
It's
Take good
wonderful
care.
to see you too.
Stay
And wonderful
well.
to see you, Joellen, and all of you who have been here every week for months now. This is just
Happy Mother's Day.
so wonderful. Hi, Sidra, we haven't heard much from you. And it looks like you are with someone who is observing the meeting.
My husband.
Oh, wonderful.
Now he's
Welcome.
hiding.
Welcome to the meeting. We just have a good time.
Yes.
Bye, everyone.
We'll see you all next
Bye.
week.
Take it easy.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.